You're listening to Joe List's Mindful Metal Jacket on the Riotcast Network, riotcast.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mindful Metal Jacket podcast with Joe List, or Joe List's Mindful Metal Jacket. That's how I think we'll say it because of the poster logo done by the fabulous Diego Pimentel or Pimentel. I don't know how to say his name. I don't know how to say my show name. I don't know how to say Diego's name. I don't know how to say anything. Here's one thing I know how to say. Stavros Halkias. Today's guest is the lovable, hilarious, charming, and evidently depressed Stavros Halkias. You might know him from his hit podcast, Cumtown. That's right, folks. Cumtown. You might also know him from his hilarious stand-up and his great Instagram, too. He does it all. What can't he do? It's a good episode, I think. Thanks for listening, first and foremost. Hopefully you make it through this introduction phase of the podcast. Feel free to skip right ahead to old Stavi, baby. Stavros came over my house. It was a few weeks ago now. I don't know when. A couple weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Who knows? He was avoiding my text. I invited him on, and he was not responding. And I bumped into him at therapy, which is the perfect place to bump into someone that's avoiding you, because you can call them out right in front of our therapist. It's a fun exchange when one person's leaving and one person's going in. And always great to see him. Stavros is one of those guys. I think I may say this when we're talking to each other. I've never been unhappy to see Stavros. One of the best guys in the world. So enjoy this conversation with Stavros. And if you don't already know it, go check out his stand-up comedy and listen to his podcast, Cumtown. And here is a fun quote from my number one guy, Thich Nhat Hanh. You know him, you love him. He's my man. I own about 27 Thich Nhat Hanh books. They're all basically the same. I recommend all of them. Happiness and peace of mind are my favorite ones. So here's a little Thich Nhat Hanh coming your way. The most precious gift we can offer others is our presence. Disagree, Thich. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. There you go, folks. That's Thich Nhat Hanh coming right in your butt. Here's another one. Keeping your body healthy is an expression of gratitude to the whole cosmos, the trees, the clouds, everything. Hear that, Stavros? Keep your body healthy, man. It'll be an expression of gratitude to the trees. We talk about health a little bit on this one, mental health, obviously, and we talk about therapy and depression. We get into it. We talk stand-up. I can't remember what we talk about, but I do remember enjoying it very much. I always enjoy talking with Stavros, and I hope you enjoy listening to us talk. Here is Stavros Halkias and I. Thank you for listening. Farts. I was going to be the first episode that ever started with the guest texting.
Oh, my bad. No, I put it away. It's gone.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go to airplane mode like I like to do, and then I record it on my phone as a backup.
Oh, a very, very shitty. You know what, dude?
A shitty backup. But the iPhone, I feel like, has decent.
I'll do the same. You know what? We're going to get stereo backup.
What's
I'm going to record it on my phone.
Oh, then we'll have both of us?
Yeah.
I'm a moron. I don't know what stereo means. My fucking thing's been doing this. This is a good way to start an anxiety podcast.
Absolutely.
Where I keep hitting record and it won't start recording.
Mine does the same shit. I had to go to a different recorder.
I've tried a different recorder. I've downloaded one, and then that one's a pain in the fucking balls.
Yeah, there's no good one, man. I know what you mean.
It really isn't.
And it's just comforting to use the one you've always known.
Yes.
But I don't fuck with that. Honestly, that one's not that good. The one that just comes on your phone, I don't like that much.
Yeah, I'll come on your phone.
Yeah. All right.
But that's how it starts. That's right. We just finished talking off mic of like, this isn't really funny. And I'm like, I make too many cum jokes on my other show. I want people to hear a real side. And I'm just like, I'll come in your face. Now you have your podcast, Cumtown.
Yes.
Which I'm bitter about because we were talking about cum way before you guys. We were all cum all the time.
That is true.
And
in terms of theme and subject matter, you deserve to be called Cumtown for sure. Yeah.
I appreciate
in terms
it.
of how stupid the name is, we deserve it.
Yes.
In terms of being a bad, just dumb show.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it. Some guy said when Mark and I started our podcast, some guy tweeted, it's my favorite tweet ever. He said, this show is as great as the name sucks. I thought that was a great zinger.
Yeah. That is true. It is a bad name.
Tuesdays with Stories?
Yeah.
You think?
No.
Oh, that's hurtful.
I'm kidding.
Well, people think we're associated with the book. Sometimes we'll get people saying, have you ever heard of this book?
Hilarious.
And I'm like, yeah, man.
What do you think happened? It was random.
It's so funny. But anyway, how long have you been doing Cumtown for?
I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Something like that.
Well, it's a hell of a program.
I know. It's crazy.
Check it out, folks. And I believe, can I say this on air?
Sure.
You bought your mother a house with money.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get crazy. I'm still $90,000 in debt.
Oh, okay.
I didn't buy it cash.
Right. Okay. All right.
I'm not a fucking millionaire.
That's what I think.
But it's a shitty. First, I did buy a house in Baltimore. Actually, my brother lives in it, and but it's the shitty neighborhood I grew up in.
Yeah.
It's Greek Town in Baltimore City, which is it's a very funny. Like we're basically the property value. Here's what it's like. When we moved in, our old Greek neighbor warned us that the other neighbor was gay. So that's the kind of person we're around.
That's
you know what I'm
hilarious.
saying? That's what the property values are like. Where I bought a house. So
that's hilarious. But sometimes that could be a good property value. Like if
True.
you go to like Beverly Hills, they're probably like, careful, there's an Indian guy 3 blocks away, and that's $5 million.
That's
you
true.
know,
That is
your house
true.
might get blown up. I saw a brown guy 6 weeks ago.
You're right. You want the middle. Yeah, very rich or very poor. They're both racist.
Right.
And homophobic.
That could be a bit, maybe. The
Yeah.
poorer or richer you get,
Yeah.
the more
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
assholes they get.
Yeah.
Although I grew up in, I don't know, suburbs, but there's plenty of racist, horrible people
Sure.
in all,
Absolutely.
whatever you call it, economic situations. So you didn't just walk in with 300 grand.
I don't have that kind of money. I still don't have that kind of money, but whatever. It's also like a nice place for me to go. I mean, I grew up in a fucking house that's like, there was my brother, I have 3 kids, me, my brothers who are twins, my mom, my dad, that's 5 people. And then my grandma lived with us. And for like maybe 5 and somewhere between 5 and 10 years, one of our cousins lived with us too. So it's
wow.
we're in this little fucking row home with, 3 real bedrooms and 7 people. And so it was just like, I don't want to go back as a grown man and fucking sleep in that madhouse anymore.
Right,
you know?
right.
So it's like, it was one of those things where let's just, spread out a little bit as a family.
Have you tried pitching that as a show? Because that sounds like a great show. 7
No, I
Greeks
haven't.
in like
No.
1 2-bedroom
No,
in Baltimore.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. You're
with
right.
like a racist landlord and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty great.
It was fun. It was a weird, just growing up next to, I shared a wall with my grandmother growing up. So just like constantly just stealthily beating off, just like foot on the door. No locks, by the way, on any doors.
And
foot on the door.
Would you do that as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm woken up in the middle of the night, just my grandma flapping her ancient clit.
Is she still around?
She's still around. She's still kicking. 88.
Wow. How old is your mom? I feel like your mom's a little older, too.
Yeah, she's 65, 64, something like that.
So she must have been a little bit older when she had
Yeah,
you.
my parents had... Well, that's part of the reason we're in America is because my parents had trouble getting getting pregnant, and I was one of the, second batch of test tube babies.
Oh, wow.
So they, stayed in America. They came over... my parents had me when they were, 35.
Right.
In that range. And
yeah.
they've been married like a decade, but they couldn't have kids for the longest time.
They were in Greece?
They were in Greece, then they moved to America to kind of they're like, we're gonna check it out see what it's about.
Right.
They've just been here for fucking 40 plus years.
Like legally? Should we fucking knock it off?
Just don't have my name on this. No, they're legal. My dad failed his citizenship exam, but he's a resident alien. And my mom is an American citizen now.
Gotcha. But they're not together anymore. Can we talk about that? Or
They
is that
are
too...
together.
Oh, they
but
are
they
together.
Shouldn't be together. It's one of those really old school I'm a child of. I'm not a child of divorce. I'm a child of should have gotten divorced.
Like
you know
Costanza,
what I mean?
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
not even that kind of love. There's not even like that doesn't even exist. But yeah,
That's interesting because I've known you well for a long time. I just assumed your parents weren't
Yeah, the
together
way I
because of the
talk about
way.
them.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm afraid they're going to listen. I don't want to give away too much here.
They're not gonna listen.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
They don't care.
My dad barely understands English.
Is that right?
I mean, he understands English, but it would take him a while to follow it. A quick talking podcast. If it's a show about woodworking, he's a carpenter. He can understand it. If it's like, he used to watch Jay Leno before we had Greek TV, but he's had Greek TV now for, a decade. So he's out on American media.
And so you guys have a tumultuous relationship.
Yes, I don't get along with my father.
I would say.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. That's part of the reason I bought the house. It was just like, let's get out of this,
So he's living in the house that you bought, though.
No. He's living in the house with my mom, the house I grew up in.
Oh, I thought you bought a house that your mother's now living in.
No, my little brother lives there.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a slumlord for my little brother.
Because you're an interesting guy, because I want to talk about anxiety and mindfulness and what you do, because you seem like a cool cat.
Yeah.
You're always laughing and giggling and fun, and you're like a fun guy. You're one of these guys. You're a guy that everybody feels close to right away.
Sure. I'm a good hang. I like to hang out with people. I like to,
Great hang.
Yes.
You're a guy I feel like that no one's ever like, fuck, here's Stavros.
Right.
That's a good feeling. I mean,
that
that's
feels nice to know. Yeah,
I mean, I
sure.
try to be like that, but there's got to be a few people that are like, oh, fuck, here comes
Yeah.
this list.
Sure.
But I feel like no one ever does that. No one never says any bad words about
I like
you.
to hear that. I mean, yeah, I feel like I am pretty easygoing, pretty easy to get along with.
Right, but yet I see you when I leave the therapist's office. You're sitting there with your dumb Bulls hoodie on or whatever.
Yeah.
So why are you in therapy?
Well, part of it is because like I think that is a lot of my. I mean, that was actually a frustration probably growing up and as a kid and everything is like I've had mental illness runs in my family just undiagnosed. Like my father, I remember when we were still on speaking terms, I was like, you gotta fucking go to therapy. Like I was like, and he'll never hear it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Grew up in Greece, fucking middle school dropout to go be a carpenter's apprentice
Right.
at like 12. You know what I mean? Like
that generation of men, it feels like, are the most resistant to therapy of any
100%.
group of people.
Even my mom, that generation in general, I think,
True.
It took my mom a little, that was part of, I paid off some debt for my mom and I was like, don't do anything. I would really appreciate, I tried to give her own little, because their parenting skill was guilt. So I tried to give her a little bit of her own medicine. I was like, listen, I'm happy to do it, but it would mean a lot to me if you could go to therapy. I just hit her with one of those.
Wow.
And
good for you.
it took her a year. She was like, I've been looking, and this holidays, I was like, Ma, just fucking go. Like you're killing me here. You're just like, you're not going. We talked about it, but
Good for you. This sounds like Alan talking. Is he in your ear? This sounds like our therapist.
no, this was me. This was me
Oh, wow.
because I was just tired of fucking dealing with. I've gotten both my brothers into therapy, and my mom hopefully into therapy because our family is so fucked up. I mean, the Alan talking, the therapy talking is that he allowed me to see that my family's fucking ridiculous and like
Right.
absurd.
Yes,
Like
same
the
here.
situation I grew up in doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yes.
Like, two people that. One person that hates the other person while the other person's just really nice to them. And, she's dealing with her own stuff. We got a fucking grandma that's just every once in a while, like the old Muppets just fucking heckling everyone.
Right,
Like,
right.
My grandma barely growing up could hide her contempt for what a fucking idiot my father was,
Right.
So and by the way, he was kind of an idiot. So it's like deserved, but he's also being disrespected in his own home.
Right.
So I understand being like mad about it, but also like maybe fucking make a little money and don't be a fucking idiot, and just be a good guy. So it was just like this, there's all this. And then I have two twin brothers that.
Two twin brothers?
Or I'm sorry.
They're twins.
They're twins.
I got you.
Imagine if I'm a triplet. I never brought it up.
Like, what?
There's just two of me running around somewhere.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And you guys didn't go into pro wrestling? Like the Halkias boys? That'd be fucking the ultimate.
That would be incredible, dude. Oh, that's really what I'm mad about. That's the career path I want. I'm gonna clone myself now. But yeah, man. It's just like, and I just got tired of fucking everyone being a fucking, one of my brothers really had. Me and one of my brothers really like I have anxiety and depression, and to go back to what we were talking about initially, that was kind of like something that was frustrating growing up because I felt like I was fucking so much of my life growing up. I felt like I was so depressed, so like down, and I was just like, damn, I can't. Hopefully, someone sees it and like cheers me up, and
Right.
But everyone always assumed I was, because, I'm just fun. I'm good to, I like to joke around. No, it was very rare would anybody ever like know that I had some shit going on. Even my mom and I think in my family, they kind of depended on me to be like the steady one, hilariously.
Yes.
As a child, I was always the smartest person in the family, which tells you a lot about the family's like. But,
well, you're a smart guy.
But I'm a fucking 10-year-old proofreading like
right.
letters. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, government documents. My mom's like, can you take a look at this before going to 4th grade? You know what I mean? So it was like there was a lot of pressure on me in that regard. And then in school, I was just like a real people, just like I like having a good time. I would be sad, and then I just couldn't, like, something in me was like, this kind of sucks. Like, I'm tired of just being mopey. Let's just make fun of someone. You know what I mean? Like, let's just have a goof.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I feel like I have a very similar role in my family, and I've talked about this before on this podcast and other places, is that when you're kind of a funny guy, people assume you're doing great.
Absolutely.
And I have it like, I'm like hanging out with you a bunch. I'll have a thing that I'm obsessed with, my fucking kidney or my hip or my dick.
Absolutely.
I remember calling you about my balls 100% one day.
Asking me,
But people think it's funny. Because I'm being funny. I'm like, dude, I think I have ball cancer. My ball's weird. And I'm talking about my balls, so people are like, this guy's nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, seriously. Like, I'm afraid my balls
are
falling off.
I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to die.
So it's similar. And like, no one ever, other than Alan, our therapist, no one ever said to me, I think you might be worried about something else. There might be something else you're unsatisfied with because this is ridiculous. You're 21. You probably don't have kidney failure or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being in Montreal one night, and I think I counted how many times I went to the bathroom because I thought I was diabetic.
Yeah.
And I pissed like 12 times.
Yeah.
And I called a doctor who's like a friend of mine, and he's like, well, what are you drinking all day? And I'm like, I had 4 Cokes and 7 large green teas from Starbucks.
Right.
And I have anxiety. And he's like, yeah, you're probably not
just caffeinated.
Diabetic. You're probably just freaking out.
You're in good shape. You're not diabetic.
But it's a similar thing where like people look to you to be like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't have any knowledge. I'm losing my fucking mind.
For sure.
But it's an interesting thing. And this is one of the crazy things about depression that I'm dealing with now with people in my family as well, is that you can be depressed, but also be jovial and having a good time and like laughing it up.
For sure.
That's what's so interesting about it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's easy to compartmentalize, I mean, I think like, it was very like growing up. I think what I would do is just be like, you know what, this is fun. I do like, it's an escape from like being in my own thoughts, just being like a fun, goofy guy. It was almost like, I'm sure you have feel similarly. Like before you do stand up, it's like just fucking around with your friends is almost like being on stage constantly. I mean, I was that guy where I was the life of the party. I was doing fucking, goofy shit.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So it was almost like fun. Like the same way now, it's like, even when I feel like shit, like I've been in a real slump the last post-holiday shit. Anyone who has a hard time with their family, holidays is brutal. And this one was kind of tough, and I've been in a real slump. I wasn't doing shit. And I finally just started I was canceling spots because I felt I couldn't get out of bed, all that stuff. And finally I was like, fuck it. Because I was like, I know I don't have anything new, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to work on new shit December and January, but I was too depressed. I didn't write anything. But I was like, just go out there. You have a couple ideas. It'll be fine. And the first ones were kind of fucking rough, but I was like, oh, wait, I fucking love being on stage.
Right.
It's like, this is an escape. Like, all the cliches. You feel like a fucking cliche where you're like, yeah, I bet that's your escape up there. And it's like, you want to tell someone to shut the fuck up, but it's like, it really is. Like, I feel so much better.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I think about that, too. Like, again, you don't want to sound like pretentious or trite or whatever word that I don't know what it means. But, like, it is a thing of, like, comedy's like saved my life. It gives you like an outlet to go to create and then to like get the satisfaction of like getting laughs, and it gets you like high for a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus the social aspect, and like moves you out of the house and to travel and like meeting people, because that's so much when I have a habit of isolating, and I was doing it today. Like Sarah's still out of town for the holidays. When you're just by yourself, it's like, this is horrible. But everything about it mentally tells you to stay here.
Exactly.
It's like you're saying, like, you don't want to leave the house.
Totally.
But that's one of the solutions is to go
100%.
and even if you go buy a fucking scratch ticket and talk to the guy, it releases like the dopamine of like, hey
Something's
man,
happening.
hey, nice to see you. Good luck. Hey, thanks. You really mean it? I start crying.
Right.
I'm like, thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, so it definitely helps to go out and then like to have that, like it focuses you on like, let me see what I can come up with and say, and then getting the laughs.
Yeah, and I think it's just you're in a fucking like fog almost, where it's like, and every little thing, even if it's not a like a solution that day, it's like, well, you're getting to the solution,
Right?
Slowly, that is step one, and it's like you're saying, it doesn't feel like a big thing, but it's like, well, other than that, it's like you would just be at home for God knows how long, you know?
Yeah, no, I think about that, and it must be hard for people with like 9 to 5 jobs where it's like you come home and that's it. You're just home for hours to sit. I mean, people that have depression, I mean, and to just kind of sit there and be like, all right, well, I'm sitting here. I guess I'll watch the shows, but like every time when I try to watch a show, I'm like, the whole time I'm like, this isn't what I should be watching. I should be watching something else. And it's so difficult for me to even choose a movie to watch. It's just like a constant thing.
Yeah.
I'll turn off 5 different movies. I'm like, I've seen that. I should watch something new. And then I start watching something new. And I'm like, I don't think I'm into this. Why don't I watch the other thing?
Yeah.
And this is what my therapist always says. Alan, he's like, this is like a problem I have. He's like, there is no right and wrong choice. I keep thinking there's something that I should be doing at this moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I be jerking off right now, or should I be going to Starbucks, or should I be jerking off at Starbucks? Should I be like,
Let's spice it up.
I keep thinking if I make the wrong decision, I'm going to die, and my mother's going to fall down a well. But
interesting. I definitely have that too. I have the like right or wrong shit. Like I feel like there is a right answer. I don't have the like. I'm not worried about it in terms of like, you know, something catastrophic is going to happen. I just think, well, if I fuck this up, well, there goes another thing that's going to set me. That's another setback. If I don't do the right thing today, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, the truth is I'm kind of trying to get out of it right now. And it's like, I dealt with some things, you know, had some fucking annoying conversations that you're putting off, some things that you're anxious about, you know, family, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just I'm also going through a breakup, and I was working so much when it happened that it was like, I was on the road constantly, and then it was the holidays. And now it's like, fuck, 3 months later almost, I'm like kind of alone with all my fucking thoughts.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck, this sucks.
But that's good though. I mean, like that's what I'm working on with all this mindfulness. And that's where like mindfulness comes in, is to kind of lean into that and feel it, as opposed to just going, I'm a piece of shit because I haven't written a new joke, or I'm just sitting in the house, is to kind of sit with those feelings and feel what it is that you're feeling, which is probably, you know, hurt or rejected or something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, also, like, you know, to give our therapist some more credit, I mean, the conversation I had yesterday was, you know, it was, you know, I don't want to divulge too much, but it was like with one of my family members, and it was like this minor thing that what I perceived to be minor, right? Like a minor, you know, like we didn't see each other, you know, like an event or whatever. It was like he was out going doing something else when I thought we had like an agree. It was never, I never communicated anything, and on the surface it was like a very minor disagreement that shouldn't even have affected you, but given all the fucking baggage and shit that we have in our family, it was like, and when I started talking to him, I was like, fuck, I really was upset about this. And when we actually talked about it, you know, and I was like, I had all these emotions come up that I didn't even know were fucking there.
Right.
And I'm like, how the fuck? And again, it was almost like your therapist says it in such a matter-of-fact way. It's like, you're not worried about that. And I'm like, no, I am worried about this script. That's why I'm fucking crying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
no, that's most of therapy for me, is like, you have the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're so wrong about this.
And most of it comes from like childhood.
Yeah.
It's some shit. And like, it's amazing. Sometimes the therapy, it's like a magic trick. It's like, I've been doing like mixed martial arts. It's like jujitsu, where it's like, I think I'm on top and I know what's going on. And all of a sudden it's like, blip, blip, blip. And I'm like,
flipped.
oh, I'm choked out. Fucking my therapist is just choking me out. And I'm like, it's my dad. You're right.
Yeah, it's always your dad.
Like,
I know. Well, I think of that because I think of this, right? Like that conversation, I had been in a rut and I feel already better. There's other shit I need to figure out, right? But I've been ignoring that conversation since Thanksgiving, which is 3 months, right? From 2 months ago, right? Or not even, a month and a half.
Yeah. It's 3 days ago.
It was yesterday.
Slowly
it is
goes.
currently Thanksgiving. We are at Thanksgiving. Me and Joe are podcasting at our
table.
joint the List Halkias Thanksgiving. Something that was like bothering me for a month and put me in a fucking rut for a month. I finally talked about it and I feel way better. Think about all the times in your life that you didn't, how many of those little moments that you needed to have that conversation. Yes. And it's like, they never happened. You're dealing with I'm dealing with 30 years of little things that have fucked me up, and I've been mistreated, and I mistreated people, and I never reckoned with those feelings. And that's what fucking, that's what's crazy to think about.
That's what all this shit is. And that's what, did you ever read Healing Back Pain by Dr. Sano?
No.
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
Is it about back pain?
You think so?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well,
that seems like the kind of shit that I'm like, you know what, man? Just tell me what this shit is about.
Well,
some guy with a fucking fucked up back is reading it, and it's all about your feelings and shit.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, so much of what we talk about in therapy is in there, and basically the whole book is what you just said, and it's this.
Nice. Let me get some fucking royalties off that.
It's like tension motherfucker syndrome, TMS or something like that. But basically, it's that like most back pain or all back pain basically that hasn't come from like blunt trauma or like I threw my back out, where you're just if you get someone hits you with a 2x4 or whatever, or you're in a car wreck, that's like something. But so much back pain and similar things, like for me, reflux or tooth pain or migraines.
Interesting.
It's all this like tension of like basically anger that you never got out from your parents or your mother or your whatever the fuck. I mean, I just said parents or mother.
Yeah.
You get it. That's under the same umbrella. But it's like exactly what you're talking about. All those like hundreds of thousands of things going back to elementary school and kindergarten where someone did some shit that you didn't say anything, or like a bully picked on you and you feel like a fucking pussy because you didn't do anything. It's all built up in this like tension and inflammation.
Damn.
And it's like you got to work through that to like heal back. The book's
wild, amazing.
Yeah.
Is that medically? Does that check out medically?
Well, there's oft debated, I think, with this guy, but he is a doctor, and a lot of people have bought in, and more people are buying into this now. When you read all these mindfulness books and meditation books, that like so much of this stuff comes from inflammation, from stress and anxiety. That's why they call it the silent killer.
Yeah.
Like it can even like fuck up your arteries and
for sure.
shit.
Stress,
like
I mean,
clogs up your stuff.
That totally makes sense to me, man. That the stress. I mean, I remember, and it's changed now since comedy has become basically a job. But I remember when I first started, like, no, I'm seriously going to pursue this, and it was a lifelong dream that I had been like. I almost feel, not to discredit what it feels like to be gay, but like my life, like almost felt like in the closet about doing comedy.
Right.
Because it's like my family was I had good grades growing up. I was a pretty good student, and they were almost like, it was pretty clear they were depending on me to make a ton of money and like bail them out by being like a lawyer. So I was always a lawyer because I was good at talking. Right.
Right.
And I was okay talking. And I remember, and so I went to school on like a public affairs scholarship. Like I interned in like the Maryland State House of Delegates, and like I was really like on track to do something in politics, something in government, something like that. And I remember when I just decided like, this is not it. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm going to start doing open mic. Like I dabbled in some open mics, but when I took that decision and I graduated school and I was like, I'm quitting that job. I'm not taking that internship. I'm not doing it. I'm going to get a fucking regular, whatever, part-time job. It's changed. And I'm going to focus on being good at comedy. My entire life as a child, I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep at all. It was like, I mean, a snap of once I decided I'm doing stand-up, I slept like a fucking baby for like 6 years.
God, that's great. That's fucking beautiful.
It was like day and night. I mean, I was dating a girl at the time, and it was like she commented on it. She's like, "What the?" She's like, because I would always be the one. I couldn't go to bed, whatever. And she was like, "You were constant. Like the second your fucking head hits the pillow." And now, I mean, we're back to the same anxieties. I mean, I'm a grown up.
Sure.
I have to make a living. I'm worried about my career. So that's sort of the stress-free shit is gone.
Right.
But I totally understand the like once you get stress out of your life, because for me it was like I was living up to somebody else's. I was trying to fill somebody else's, what they wanted from me, and it was not what I wanted to do. And school stressed me out constantly, and I couldn't fucking sleep as a result. And I was Totally. I had high blood pressure as a kid, and it wasn't just because I was fat.
Right.
I think it was because of all the fucking pressure, all the pressure put on me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly with like the family thing now, because I've said this a lot. Like in show business, it's like you're in the lottery, where it's like I come from a very blue collar family as well, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What's the term for
Lower middle class?
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like there's a chance I could make $700,000 a year, where it's like my parents and uncles and sister, that's it. They're
Sure.
capped out.
Yeah.
There's no, like, they might
Right.
get a raise or 1% raise or some other fucking whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like they're making whatever it is. I don't know, $55,000. I don't know what people make, but
right.
in show business, you're like, all right, I might have to be the guy for like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
If it hits, it could also, show business also, you could make
You can make $0.
12 grand or
Yeah,
$0.
yeah,
Yeah. Even 12 is high, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shitty comics out there, but like, I mean, it does feel like you're in. I feel that way all the time when I'll talk to people back home. They're like, yeah, we can't really afford this, and a house is that. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta do this. But now it's like this weird thing where like, you're somebody's child worrying about your parents' finance is a weird
Absolutely.
position to be in. And that again causes a lot of stress and tension and anxiety.
Yeah, my family's economics are a constant like source of work, because it's the other thing is I don't fucking talk to my dad. So it's like the irony is like, you know, I've had a good couple of years. The podcast has gone. It's crazy how successful it's gotten. And then off the back of that, I love doing stand up. So I've been touring constantly. So it's like I'm trying to save as much money now as I can, because we know the shit doesn't last.
Right.
It's something that could happen overnight. I'm trying, and that's where a lot of the stress comes from. I'm trying to either make it last or find other avenues to like what the next step is, just to like continue to not only create, but also like continue to make a living. But it's possible it goes away for a while. And it's like, it's scary to me to be like, fuck, what if one of my family members gets sick? Because they don't fucking have any money. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's a tough thing. It's a constant source of worry, man.
Yeah, I feel that way too. It's like myself, my wife, like we don't have health insurance.
Yeah,
and
I don't
like
have health insurance.
all this stuff. Yeah, it's like it's scary. Have you watched? There's a documentary on HBO called "One Nation Under Stress," and it's about all this stuff and like financial anxiety and stress and like the effect it has on your body and well-being and stuff. But that's where it's like you have to. This is where like again like mindfulness and meditation comes in, or therapy of like a lot of this is just anxiety, and you have to understand that like, all right, I'll handle that when it
should it come up.
it comes up.
If you have a good plan and you're sticking to it and you're doing everything you need to, if whatever happens in the future just fucking happens.
Yeah, and you have to try to be like, okay, I'm having anxiety. That's anxiety. Let me come back to this moment where I'm not really in any imminent danger, which is most of the time, really. Like most anxiety. Someone had a great thing. I probably brought it up on this before. Is like if you're worrying about something, that means it's not happening currently.
Right.
Because if it was happening, you wouldn't be worried about it. You'd be dealing with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you got attacked by a fucking tiger, you wouldn't be worried about a tiger attacking you. You'd be like, I gotta get out of here.
I'll be fucking that motherfucker up.
So it's actually comforting to be like, all right, if I'm worried about this, it's not happening right now. And most of your life, when you're having anxiety, you're fine. You're just sitting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you're on the bus, or you're doing something.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial to just take a moment to kind of like find your breath and be like, all right, I'm just right here.
Yeah.
None of this is happening yet.
I totally see that. I also do see it as part of like, I mean, that's certainly true. And a lot of people have anxiety, but it's also, the reality is like, I do feel like a lot of shit is being pushed onto poor people of like, you got to be more mindful, and you have to like, you know, especially like, and even with like climate change, it's like, well, you got to stop eating meat two fucking times a week. Where I feel like a lot of the problems that poor people have, a lot of people have, are just being fucking poor, and like, there's a lot of real anxiety out there, and that's the hard thing of like, I think as a nation we're so stressed out because it's just like you don't have enough fucking money. You're worried about like someone in your family. There's a lot of real serious issues out there.
No, of course. This country
looming.
doesn't seem to really give a fuck about those people.
Yeah,
I mean, part of it, I mean, that's like a whole other topic. We could go off politically and lose everybody that's listening.
Right.
That's the thing too of like all of these things that we used to create and make have been sent overseas. So like the top 3 people in the fucking company could make instead of 2 billion, they can make 6 billion.
Right.
Then fucking 750,000 people out of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, another problem. I mean, that's like greed
it's
at
tough.
the top.
I know. And it's like, but I do think like, and I think, I mean, we, for better or for worse, mostly have escaped the like being right there with that worry. Like, it's not day to day. We're not living in the same like poverty necessarily that we grew up in, but like you see how it affects just being even one generation removed from it, where it's like that shit's fucking real, man. Like income inequality has like as I mean, I think we'd be anxious people anyway,
right?
For sure. Like I think both of us have that, but it's like, it's fucking real, because who knows how many of those fucking like how many of that how much of the shit that why our dads or our moms were in a bad mood that fucked us up, how much of that had to do with just like being like, fuck, am I gonna pay the bills? You know what I mean?
And my family's dealing with that still. Like my mother, I mean, I don't know how personal she wants me to get here, but like she doesn't have a credit card. There's no savings account.
Right.
My family doesn't have a fucking savings.
I remember when I didn't, and my mom was good at hiding how poor we were.
Same here. Yeah, I didn't realize until I was like 35.
I was like,
oh, wait a minute.
When I was applying for college, because you do financial aid and you do FAFSA or whatever, and they ask you like, okay, because you get a certain percentage of aid depending on how little money you have, and I'm like, okay, mom, this part there, and I'm always filling it out, and I'm asking the questions, and I'm like, okay, now they're asking us what our net assets are, and she's like 0, and I'm like, no, mom, net means, and I'm thinking it's a language barrier. She's like, I know what it fucking means. We don't have any money. Like, I don't know. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't know until I was literally 18 years old, about to go to college. I was like, damn, we're that fucking poor? Because you also grow up in that. Like, I didn't really know. I knew Greektown. Like, I grew up in Baltimore. I didn't know much except for the, 12 blocks around there. As an adult, later on, I moved to different parts of Baltimore, and I got to know the city. But it's like, I just knew my neighborhood, and we were about in the middle of the pack in our neighborhood, but our neighborhood was fucking sucked.
Right.
Like, but everything's fucking relative when you're a little ass kid.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear, my family's not that poor. That's embarrassing. I mean, that's fucking humiliating. But I'd be depressed too. But no, but yeah, I mean, it's like
you guys had a pool table. I sat on it nude. I know
well, that we inherited that pool table. That wasn't that was a freebie. But like, no, my family never bought. They bought 2 new cars in my lifetime. One when I was 25. It was a lot of like hand me down. This is our new car. That's like a Springsteen song. This is our new used car. And you're like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents weren't poor.
Totally.
But they it's like that stat that happened recently or somewhere, like most families in America couldn't handle a $700 fucking thing. That like, if you're like, oh, we need $700, they'd be like, where's
it coming from?
We're destroyed.
Yeah, crazy.
So, and that's still going on. Again, currently, like as we're speaking, I have family shit going on. That's frustrating. Meanwhile, I'm talking about like mindfulness. The people at the top of these companies that outsourced, they're all like yogis.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I mean is like some of this is fucking bullshit. Some of it is like your life is, there's certain things in your life that need to be, because all those fucking, like that guy that fucking owns Twitter, Jack whatever the fuck, he's on yoga retreats, he's going to fucking Dubai, like, or whatever, he's going to India, and it's like, you don't fucking have, were you that anxious
well
about?
He's probably anxious because he feels guilty that he's destroying civilization.
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
But no, I do think that everybody's dealing with their own fucking demons or whatever.
Certainly.
I mean, we don't know how.
That's
I mean,
true.
There's more contributing factors than finance to anxiety and stress. I mean, like a lot of celebrities have panic disorder and panic attacks and stuff.
And there's health issues, and there's like
health issues, and then your parents. And I mean, his dad might have beat the shit out of him. I don't know. Maybe he got finger fucked when he was 7 or something.
Yeah.
And then also, it's like I've always felt for celebrities too, like the paparazzi and the lack of privacy.
For sure.
Or like you're going through it. Think about how painful your breakup is. And then imagine everyone in America has chosen a side. And then there's a picture of you and your girlfriend on the cover of every magazine.
Right.
Like it's kind of a nightmare in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But then it's like every decision you made was to lead you towards celebrity.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to
For sure.
deal with that. But no, it is tricky. But I do think that everyone, no matter what their situation, could benefit from an amount of mindfulness of meditation.
Just sitting. And honestly, to be honest with you, I still have trouble with be whatever. I don't even fucking really know what. Sometimes feeling your feelings is hard for me. Sometimes my therapist will tell me something, and I just disagree with how that should be handled, or it's just it's hard to get out of your modes of thinking. Like, I have a hard time sitting with my feelings. I have a hard time I'm so good at not feeling my feelings. That's how I lived for my whole life.
Yeah, and it's like you've been trained. I'm
so good at those coping mechanisms.
You have to unlearn that stuff,
and it feels good. Like on the shit you do. And I've been getting fucked up. This since Thanksgiving, dealing with this stuff that's been hounding me. I was getting just high as shit. Sometimes I would take I would take a ton of edibles, mushrooms. I was even drinking, and I even when I'm not trying to be sober, I don't drink that much, but I was even getting pretty fucking drunk sometimes. So it was just it feels good. The beginning of a bender feels great.
Yes.
When you've been living good and then something fucking annoys you and your body is still healthy from living healthy.
Yes.
That first week feels awesome.
Yeah.
It's incredible, the beginning of a relapse.
I just went through similarly, obviously I don't drink now, but I've been working on all this diet stuff, which is always hard because I'm thin. I have this metabolism thing. So I'm a skinny guy, so no one wants to hear about my food troubles.
Right. But yeah, you had a very restrictive diet.
Yeah, well, I have the reflux, and also I'm just garb. You can be thin and die from bad diet.
Yeah,
I'm rotting on the inside.
Your organs were probably gray as fuck.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I always want to just open it up and spray it down. But so anyways, I've been I was going restrictive diet and low carb and all this shit, trying to help heal reflux, which now I realize is so much of it was just anxiety and stress. Dr. Sarno, fucking healing back pain. But anyways, the holidays, I was all right, holidays, I'm going home. I got to deal with my family. I'll eat some shit because I don't drink. And it's the same thing. It's masking feelings by eating cinnamon roll. And then it's the sugar addiction. You get into it every morning. So now I'm in the mode of I eat cinnamon rolls every morning. And then I'm fuck it, I'll just have McDonald's. So I just went haywire. And then Sarah's father passed away, which is a whole other thing.
Brutal, yeah.
And it's I eat McDonald's, pizza, and cinnamon rolls. And now, right now, I can feel, I want to go get a sweet. I want to go get a fucking big ass cinnamon roll. Yes. I know right where they are.
Yes.
And they're at the bagel. I had a bagel this morning, which is not the healthiest, but it's whatever.
Yeah, baby
and
steps.
I'm looking at those fresh cinnamon rolls, and you can feel it. And I'm listening to these mindfulness podcasts and stuff, and they're that will go away. Every craving goes away, and you're just sit there with your feeling because you're trying to. In your mind, you think this will make me feel better, which it will for literally 7 seconds.
Right.
And it's that issue is still there.
That's a nice 7, though.
And now the issue that was bothering you before, whether it be your parents or your breakup, that's still there. And you have the guilt of, I'm a piece of shit. I just ate the shittiest thing.
Absolutely.
But I go back and forth because I'm well, what is this cinnamon roll going to do? Am I going to have fucking the worst reflux? Am I going to get esophageal cancer from this cinnamon roll?
Yeah.
Which is how I ate McDonald's and soda for so long. You're this cheeseburger is not going to kill me.
Yeah.
Which I've said before, I made the joke. I wish you could have stats that told you your maximum amount of double quarter pounders.
Yeah.
She could be all right, I'm at 394. I got 100 left in my life.
My whole life.
But so anyways, they want you to, the way to do it is to sit there and what is bothering me that I want this. But it's
interesting.
It's so
I've never even
deep,
considered that, bro. Yeah.
But it's such a deep level because you're well, I'm not worried about anything. I just want to eat a fucking cupcake.
Yeah, it's late. I'm hungry.
Yeah, they're fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's something in there, and you try to let it pass, but it's persistent. It fucking keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing which I struggle with food, because with alcohol, it would lead to a place where I'm I took a shit in a woman's shoe. I fucking stole a sign and smashed it. I texted my ex-girlfriend with a cupcake. I never eat a cupcake and kick my fucking TV in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's harder to fucking
absolutely.
quit that
and
shit.
you have to eat.
You have to eat. Yeah.
Listen, food addictions. I do a bunch of drugs. I'll drink a little bit, but I can pretty easily weed is hilariously the hardest thing for me to quit outside of food, but food is been a constant struggle for me. And it's honestly, when I'm trying to get healthy, I'm almost depressed when I'm hungry because I'm fuck, this is I'm giving I'm giving my addiction a shot, depending on what I eat right now. It's it's brutal. It's like if you had to see your ex-girlfriend 3 times a day,
right,
and not fuck her. You know what I mean? It's like, and not try to fuck her. It's like, it's brutal, man. And I've been trying to eat fucking salads, and I'm seamlessing shit, and it's like $82 to have a halfway decent meal on.
That's the other thing. It's so expensive, and it's just like, God, I could go to McDonald's right now. I know it'll be fucking delicious.
Yep.
But that shit, like, Sarah's father passed away, and like he was saying before he passed, obviously, he was just like, he's like, I've had a great life. He's like, the only thing that I regret is how stupid I was with diet. And he was like, it fucking like hit home.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he was diabetic, and he's just like, you just have that thing of like, right now we're like, I'll just eat it, whatever, who gives a shit? Yeah. But it's like you get to the fucking end of your life, and you're like, or you get diagnosed with some shit, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I just fucking wanted a hot dog. Now I'm a fucking, I gotta.
This is from hot dogs. That's the shit. When you, I really don't, I don't want to die early and see the meals that caused it.
Right.
It's like fucking like all these fucking chicken wings from a pizza place.
Yes.
And like,
you're like, fuck, I just wanted to, I was stressed out.
I got ribs from a fucking IHOP one time.
Oh man. I mean, IHOP's my thing right now. I got waffle addiction. I can't stop eating fucking waffles. Because here's what, I was talking to a doctor and a friend of mine, and he was just like, you can have carbs in the morning, just don't have them late, because it gives you time to break them down. So I'm like, got it, carbs in the morning.
Yeah.
Fucking waffle, baby. And I'm like, waffle, maple syrup, butter, fuck yeah, cinnamon roll.
I talked to a doctor, thank you very much.
I'm like, it's fucking
You're eating
10
your
a.m.,
4th
dude.
plate. Yeah.
I'm like, get some fried chicken and waffles. It's 9:45.
Like, but then you feel like shit. Yesterday I had I went to a diner, had a big diner breakfast, and my buddy ordered pancakes for the table, which respect that move. And we each got a little pancake, and it was great. And I felt fucking horrific. I didn't eat anything. It ended up being an okay day. I'm trying to count my calories because I didn't eat anything, and then I fucking went and I fucking just worked out, had a nice workout in after, but I felt sluggish. I felt like shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can't be feeling good with those waffles, can you?
No, I felt like shit, and I feel good the last few days. I've been better. Like at home, it's way easier for me than on the road, because the road, it's just like you're lonely and everything. But it's similar to, I have a similar thing with like talking like this doesn't make me want to eat healthy. It makes me want to eat the shit we're talking about.
Of course, dude.
And I have the same thing a lot of times with sobriety too. Like sometimes you go and people tell stories about what it was like when they were drinking, and there's a little part of me that's like, man, that was fun.
Yeah, dude.
You fucking, you kind of go, oh man, I wouldn't mind fucking letting go. I think what it is the feeling, or whatever it is, dopamine or serotonin, whatever the fuck. It's that same with sex. That feeling of after you've made the decision to just let go.
Yeah.
Of like, I shouldn't do this. You have that one moment. It's like a drug release of like, fuck it, let's just fuck. Who cares?
Yeah.
Or that like, let's just eat fucking cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Or let's have some beer. That was my favorite thing about drinking, was the nights where everyone was all in on getting fucked up.
Yeah,
where
dude.
like,
It's
we're
communal.
all getting fucked up. You're like, yes.
It's a little adventure with everyone, for sure.
Or where everyone's like, let's get fucking 24 cookies.
Yeah.
Or someone's like, stick your tongue in my asshole. And you're like, all right. You know what I mean? They're all, it's just that moment. And all of those things, when you're in the middle of it even, you're like, fuck, I fucked up. It's just that moment of like.
I mean, sex is the worst, because it's like, once you bust, it's like, good God, what have I done?
Well,
it's all in one moment. At least with drinking and even with food, it's like this long like hangover, and you feel like shit for like 8 hours.
Right.
But that fucking intense moment, the second after you come, and you're like, what the fuck? You wish you had that like eject button from cartoons. Just boing, 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 just fucking shoot you out of this fucking ugly, mean stranger's apartment. You know, like.
Well, you want to hear the worst? This is like the worst thing I can fucking tell anybody about my life.
Yes.
When I got herpes, I didn't even come, because before I even came, it was like literally the moment, like we were 6 pumps into fucking, I was like, what am I doing? I'm getting herpes right now. Like, she just told me, I'm like, I'm not. It wasn't even like I came.
It wasn't even. Oh my
It wasn't like I blew a hot load and
Good
fucking was
God.
like, woo. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was like in the middle of it. I was like, what am I doing?
Dude,
I didn't have even the second to be like, oh, maybe not then. If you have herpes, we have no condom. Like we can go get a condom. I didn't even have that of like, well, let's go back. There's a CVS probably somewhere.
Yeah.
it was just like 10 and I couldn't even come. I was like, all right, whatever. Don't worry about it.
Damn.
And then 2 days later, it was just like someone lit my dick on fire.
Just pour kerosene all over your fucking little hog.
People were like, well, you must have had a fuck. I'm like, no.
Well, that's the other thing with sex. It is the worst one. I'm lucky I'm not like actually a fucking sex addict in a way. Because it's like, not only that, but it's also like, imagine you make some horrible decision, then you can't get hard. Now you're just fucking, rubbing your soft ass penis on a woman you hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, God damn it. You're cheating and you're not even having a nice time. It's awful.
Well, that was so much of the sex I had in my life was just like, I don't even like this person.
Yeah,
I'm not attracted to them or anything. I don't think they like me. And it's just like, it was a drunken mess, fucking idiots. But
for sure,
I feel grateful then and now that I never was like a hot guy that just fucking women were throwing themselves like.
Yeah.
So I never had that thing of like it's not hard for me to quit.
Yes,
absolutely. Just like no one was trying to. I always talk like there's guys that are married that still fuck around or like women are still trying to fuck them. But I'm like, I've talked about this before. I have the look and vibe of a guy. No woman on earth is like, I bet I could fuck. They're like this.
Right.
Oh, you found some. That's great. Yeah. Like, I'm not that guy anyways, but like nothing about me sets up the vibe. Nothing about it is like, I'll fuck around.
It's not that you're a bad looking guy, but I know you mean your energy is not like, I'll get my dick sucked in this closet and never tell my wife.
Yeah,
you're not that guy.
No one needs to know. Well, I don't have, Sarah and I always laugh about this, and this brings it back to anxiety again. It's like, I don't have any ability to just show up and be like, hey, yeah, it was a great trip. I would be in fucking hives sobbing. She's like, how was the weekend? I'm like, I fucking fucked some woman. I don't know. I'm like, I can't pull that off. I'd be losing my shit. Sarah says it all the time. She's like, I don't even have to worry. Like, you'd be covered in hives. Like, I would just be swollen and itchy.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah.
See, I have anxiety, but I don't know why. Maybe as a little kid, because my dad had an anger problem, so I think I got good at lying when I knew something was going to upset someone.
Right.
I got good at people pleasing, and if it was really bad, so it's like I have that instinct that I don't like about myself, where it's like if I've done something fucked up, I could probably lie about it. Probably. I'm trying not to be a fucked up guy, and I haven't cheated on a serious girlfriend, nothing like that.
Right.
But it is something that's like, I don't know. I can manage my anxiety in that way, or maybe I'm saying that and I could never, because it's like I think about maybe it's just with family, because I would like if I'm in some kind of like, mafia, I'm snitching. If I'm ever like, I'm not a tough guy,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I just don't want to be like. I just don't want to make people mad so much that I've learned how to lie in certain situations.
Yeah, certainly. Like I'm able to tell white lies or whatever.
Yeah,
but with your wife,
I guess that's
like
true. I've never had a relationship that serious. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what it's like to lie to your wife.
Yeah, you don't know what it's like to love somebody. Yeah.
No, I do. Maybe briefly I did. Who knows?
Boy, I was just kidding. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with this. Yeah, I am about to. Can we take a break, Joe? Can I have a second, man?
Well, you have to love yourself first, Stav.
Thanks, man.
And
I've gotten a little better at that.
Yeah, me too. I'm finally starting to come around. Like I just was in therapy yesterday. I felt like this wonderful growth where I'm dealing with a lot of family stuff and trying to call out my parent or confront my parents on stuff that's made me the way I am. And then Sarah's father passed away, which is the hardest thing I've ever dealt with.
Man.
But I felt good in therapy in that I'm sad about my dad and concerned, or her dad, and I'm like concerned for my family. But those are the right feelings. Yeah. As in the past, I would be like, I think I have ass cancer. Like when I shit, my asshole doesn't my shits are small. So I'm like, I'd be Googling whatever. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, I'm really sad about this person, which is growth.
It's insane how that is growth, but it's insane how A to B, that is how you were in the past. It was that simple. You were worried about something tangible,
right?
And that it would manifest itself like in being a hypochondriac. Like that's completely wild that human brains work that way.
Well, that's what this book is all about and all this stuff. That's why it's like there's plenty of science. Like I've had it, and I've talked about it on this show before, where it's like I had a tooth that was killing me. I had everyone looking at it. Like I went to the fucking emergency dental appointment, and he's like, "There's nothing here."
Damn.
He's like, "What? I don't know what you want me to do." I was like, "No, they're it. Like, please help me. You got to release." And he's like, "I'm not just gonna drill into your tooth. Like, there's like I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with your tooth."
Wow.
And within like a day and a half, it's completely gone away.
Damn.
And then it moves on within a couple days, a few days, and it's like it's all something deeper.
Yeah.
And then it's like you realize it because I've had actual needed a root canal. And you're like, oh, this is way
This is a
different.
different
I
pain,
bite into
yeah.
something. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
It's not like a dull in and out pain.
For sure.
And I've had the same thing with, again, like migraines, my back. I've had hives and like tingly. My hands would get all tingly. And I'm like, I'm having a stroke and all this crazy
Interesting.
bullshit.
Yeah, I've been having wild headaches actually the last couple, like last week. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's probably
And I think
anxiety.
it's just depression, anxiety stuff. That
Well, as somebody that's a hypochondriac, I've done a lot of research, and a headache is almost never a sign of something serious.
yeah,
Like if you have brain cancer or tumor, it's not like you just have like a nagging headache.
Right,
It's
right,
like
right,
a
right,
completely
right,
you're
right,
like
right.
shitting blood or something.
for sure.
So it's probably
I'm
just
lucky
anxiety.
that I'm not a hypochondriac really. Like I think I've let in many ways maybe it's the opposite where I let shit go to. I mean, I lost a tooth because I was not that worried.
right.
I had
right.
like tooth pain for like years.
Right,
like this
right.
tooth hurt. I remember the first time it was like a girl sat on my face. And I was like, what the? And it hurts. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, and I was just like, am I allergic to pussy juice?
That's
But it was
hilarious.
just like, I let that tooth rock for like years.
right.
And then when I went to get it checked out, it actually was one of the most anxious things that's ever happened to me. I got the x-ray and there was like a growth in my jaw.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
And the
Yes.
dentist that I went to, he
My
didn't tell
guy?
me that. No, different guy.
Yeah.
Dentist I went to, your guy missed it actually, which was actually worse. But your guy was just like, this is going to be too expensive. He knew I was poor. And he saw that I didn't have, because I didn't have any money at the time. And it was like, he didn't even, but the guy I went to did an x-ray and his face was fucking white. And he comes out and he's like, you have to go to an oral surgeon before we deal with your tooth. Something else is going on. I was like, what? He's like, he'll tell you. He wouldn't tell me.
That's
I thought I was
the
going to
worst.
die tomorrow. You know,
I
the
remember
next
going through that
day.
and like just being like, oh my God, that's probably what I have in all my teeth.
Yeah. And that was one of the worst because I had it turned out to be a benign tumor, but there was like fucking 2 months where I was like, I might have fucking straight up jaw cancer. Like I might be fucking Ebert out this motherfucker.
Yeah. I remember that.
they might have my shit completely gone, and that was fucking brutal. And it is different when you see how it's like that's almost like giving your anxiety like something to work with.
Right.
It's
right.
almost like finally. It's like when LeBron got Anthony Davis. It was like somebody to really get to work with. Now,
Well, that's
you know?
that's what hypochondria is. It's like, great, let's sink our teeth into this because I don't
Yeah.
want to think about my
Right,
dad not
right,
hugging me.
right.
Let's get into this, my eyeball twitching.
Yeah.
We'll do that. But that's another thing. I've had this problem. I'm working on this my whole life. And we've had it where like I'm Googling illnesses and asking people if they've ever had that. I'm like, have you ever had your balls painful?
Yeah.
And I'll Google it. And the bad part of that, which I'm working on now, is it's just confirming that would be horrible if that was happening. So
Right.
even if people are like, no, that's nothing. But what that makes you feel better for a moment, but all they're doing is confirming. But if it was ball cancer, you'd be fucking, that would be
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. I
Whereas a
see.
better thing would be, and I'm trying to work on this, is like visualizing, as our therapist talks about, accept your worst fear. So now if I have a ball pain, I'm like, okay, so I have ball cancer.
Yeah.
I'll go to the doctor, they'll take it out, and maybe hopefully it doesn't spread. I'll deal with that. Whatever happens, we will be able to
Right.
deal with it.
Something
We'll
will
get
happen.
through it. It's not
know.
like we just, whatever.
It's so funny how different our problems are and how like worse your shit is. Because I'm like, my thing is like, whatever guy you're worried about your ex fucking, she fucked him. That's what I've been thinking. I'm like, she fucked everybody. She fucked 100 guys. It's all good.
Well, here's the thing. That's a fetish of mine. So no anxiety. I'm like, yeah, they're all fucking your ex. Yeah, you fucking
my ex
beat off.
specifically.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. My ex-girlfriend's fucked the New York Knicks last night. So I love that.
You love that.
That I'm into.
That's your
yeah.
thing. I get
I'm
it.
like, yeah, my wife's a fucking whore. But
yeah.
anyway, so what, do you do any of the meditation or anything, or just straight therapy for
No,
you? Therapy and weed.
I'm trying to get off weed. Actually, I think that only hurts me. But it's been 3 days, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But I tried to dabble I'm actually trying to do like yoga, which is a little, it's kind of, I mean, it's not meditation,
It's
but
meditative, yeah.
you're sort of like, I like that it's just to like survive a yoga class. I really can't think about anything else.
Right.
It's nice to just be in the moment. Even when I'm working out, I'm thinking about other lifting weights or on the elliptical. You're not really fucking, but at yoga, I really feel kind of like I'm forced to be in the zone,
Right.
which is nice. I haven't really gotten into, meditation stuff. I try sometimes. I don't know. It's something that I've considered certainly, but I don't know, man. I'm honestly just kind of I am like a little lost, right? You're catching me in the midst of like trying to get it together. Because like I said, the holidays, the breakup, I've been kind of in a particularly depressive mode. And I'm trying to break out of it just with work and with like dealing with the things that have been bothering me. But, it's hard. I'm trying. It's just therapy though. And therapy really has, it's fucking night and day. There was the worst times in my life are the times where I took a break from therapy.
Right.
It's like, it is like so clear. Like when I was in therapy at the end of when I've been in therapy probably on again, off again for 10 years at this point. Cause I started in college because I was so anxious about all this family guilt. Cause I knew I didn't want to go to college. I had a therapist tell me, drop out of school and do comedy. Like She was like, you should be doing this.
That's a good therapist.
She ended up being pretty good, it turns out. But at the time I was like so pragmatic. I was like, I can't do, but it at least helped me like, I can't drop out, but at least because it was always my parents' dream, my mom specifically, for me to go to fucking college. She's like, once I'm done this, I'll do it. And then I went to therapy when I was in Baltimore, maybe the last 2 years before I moved. And then the year that I came here, I was like poor. I didn't have any fucking money. I didn't know any therapists. And that year was brutal. And it was just like compounded by the fact that I couldn't go to therapy.
Right.
And then there were times where I just scheduling reasons I couldn't go to therapy, whatever. And it ended up being like 6 or 8 weeks or something. It just kind of fucking happened that way. And those were fucking horrible times. And it's like I had to skip the session before the holidays. And then I had to skip the one, but it was just like, so it ended up being like 5 weeks during so it was just like, and I know if I could have had 1 or 2 in there, before, I would have been a little better.
It's like it's like in comedy having like when you have a great set, you have like a couple hours of like woo, you feel good, like you just leave there feeling like I see it now.
Yeah. And then when you act on it, I can. People say like, oh, you're just talking to somebody. It's just some, or you're paying some fucking guy to be your friend. But I have had direct conversations that would have never happened that have fundamentally changed my relationships with some people that are very close to me, that if those conversations don't happen, I don't know how I feel about them. I don't know. I don't know how much worse my life is. And even if it's just, dude, honestly, if it's for literally 2 conversations that I had with my brother, and obviously it helped me like confront my dad and all this other stuff, but even just the ones with my brothers, my relationship with everyone in my family has improved so much because of therapy. And it's like, that's worth it. Just getting along better with my brothers is worth it to me,
Yeah, same, 100%. I have the same thing with every one of my relationships is better because of therapy. And then Sarah's now going. That's cool too, which is great.
That's great.
So.
Does he call you every day like Don Draper? Remember Mad Men?
I never
Betty's
watched Mad Men.
Oh, sorry. Betty's there. It was incredible. He got her to go to therapy, and at the end of the night, the therapist calls the husband to let him know what his wife was saying in therapy.
That's fucking hilarious. That's hilarious. That's my dream. And I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, she comes in, and I'm like, let's pretend I'm your dad during sex. And she's like, what? I'm like, I just thought.
Just something I came up with.
I don't know why I picked such a horrible example. Especially after talking about how he just passed away. That was like the worst improv I've ever done in my life. Worst possible improvisation. I gotta like take that out or something.
Yeah, you can edit that out, man.
I'm like,
say something else.
Oof,
say the Cat in the Hat.
She won't listen to it, but that's where my sex improv goes to. All right, we gotta get you out of here. Thanks for coming over, buddy.
Of course,
it was cathartic. Dude. I appreciate
Anytime.
it.
I love chatting with you, dog.
Therapy works, everybody. Do you want to plug Cumtown?
Yeah.
If you like this,
you'll love Cumtown. You'll love the dumbest podcast in the world.
It's funny that we both have real ridiculous podcasts.
Absolutely.
But Cum is mentioned a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Where else? Oh, it's Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure they already know you anyways.
Stabby Baby on Instagram, Stabby Baby 2 on Instagram, Stabby Baby on Twitter. and I'm on the road. Go to stavi.biz/tour. I'm all over this year. So
Hell yeah. I don't know when this will come out. This might be.
that's why it's an evergreen plug.
Yeah,
baby,
yeah.
You know.
So all right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It was
dude,
fun.
thanks for
Hope you had
having
fun.
Yeah.
All right, let me hit the stop button, and then we'll make out. Oh shit, that's the wrong button.
Mindful Metal Jacket is hosted by comedian Joe List. Produced by Joe List. Edited by Matt Kleinschmidt. Executive producers Robert Kelly and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcasts.